All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Monday or Wednesday product spotlight. My name is Dave Cooper, and we have another wonderful show for you today. Unfortunately, our guest from System 3E in Poland had to reschedule to the 30th due to some issues they were having overseas, but that's okay because we have fillers like we always do, and we will bring you that show on the 30th. So put it on your calendars. It has already been rescheduled. No doubt you have seen or heard of ESG values in the master plan communities, embracing these pillars, recognizing that it will attract both access to capital and homeowners and or renters. And what are ESG values, by the way? The term refers to environmental social governance. After 20 years in the making, Point Valencia will be the largest community of net zero ready homes in the US, but who has come before them? Check out this video we're going to play with Whisper Valley, which was the first EcoSmart zero energy capable master plan community in Austin, Texas, focused on a complete environmentally sensitive lifestyle. Today, we revisit our conversation with the technology strategy partners for global private equity real estate firm Taurus Investment Holdings, John Towle, CEO, and Greg Wolfson, CTO of EcoSmart Solutions. Imagine if your home could generate its own clean, renewable energy. What if it could provide its own heating, cooling, hot water, and electricity? And suppose it could lower consumption, safeguard the environment, and save money. That was the big idea behind the EcoSmart Solution strategy and technology. If you want to build a home for today and tomorrow and embrace ESG values that residents are looking for, join us for this conversation today on Dave Cooper Live. And remember, you can catch all of these conversations by subscribing to our YouTube channel. So if you missed this one, that's how much information we have on our YouTube channel, almost 500 videos. So be the first to go there and subscribe. All right, but first, let's keep in mind, we cannot do this without all of our wonderful sponsors out there. Forward Solutions Group, thank you for the Forward Solutions Group, Ben Hershey and Joe Butler and their team for allowing us to deliver these examples of construction innovation. Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Learn more about Forward's recent acquisition, ModuCore, and ERP solution for offsite manufacturing. Contact Ben Hershey to learn more. Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com and Joe Butler. They are doing wonderful things. And if you don't know about ModuCore, I highly suggest you check it out. It is going to take over the modular and volumetric industry. And also to our sponsor, Howick. Howick is a pioneer in the technology of precision light steel roll forming machines. For over 40 years, their commitment to innovation and cold form steel, also known as light gauge steel, precision manufacturing, uncompromising quality, and exemplary customer service have defined the Howick way. HowickLTD.com. And as always at Dave Cooper Live, we are bringing you the people and the processes that are building it better. Our guests and topics include experts in building systems, building science, and building codes to the tech used to build it better. We are always seeking out the best and the brightest in construction and discovering all of the innovative ways that buildings come to life. So without further ado, we want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Thank you for putting up with our last minute change in programming. It's what happens when you're live. And today we're going to bring you the rerun. And I say rerun to something that is very pertinent to today. If you're watching LinkedIn in the news, EcoSmart communities, net zero living, not just one house, but we're talking thousands of homes. We're talking thousands of acres. We're talking Google Fiber. We are talking a better way to live where the community itself, the people living in these homes, in this community, start talking about their energy bills and how they didn't have any, or why they had $1 this month and one did not. This is the value of what is happening with these EcoSmart communities, and we're going to highlight more of that right now. So without further ado, let's go into our conversation. Texas, and we are live right now with the Housing Innovation Alliance at Whisper Valley, which is a high-tech, a lot of innovation, affordable housing, everything that you could imagine being in a community with the development of homes and a development of builders is in this community right here. So with that said, part of this community is just that. It's a lot of technology, and we're going to bring on some people that really understand this part of the business. But first, I want you right now to hit that like and share button. We are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And guess what? You can find all this stuff right on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe. And if you're not following us, Dave Cooper Live and the Housing Innovation Alliance, please hit that follow and like button now. All right, with that said, so we're gonna have some fun today. Let me go to my banners here, because we are gonna bring in two very smart people from EcoSmart Solution, and we're gonna have John Towle from EcoSmart Solutions, who is the CEO, as well as Greg Wolfson, who is the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, joining us right now. What's happening? Hey guys, thanks for joining us today.
Hey Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great. Look at this background, man.
I know. I wish I was there.
On this wall than in my entire house at home.
Yeah, we wish we were there with you.
Yeah. Me too. So, John, where are you joining us from today?
I'm joining due to travel restrictions. We're both joining you from our remote offices. I'm actually in southern Vermont.
Okay. Yeah, and how about you, Greg?
I'm actually in Marin, just north of San Francisco.
In Marin, north of San Francisco. I love it. So, John, I'm going to start with you. I ask everybody, I say, I want to hear everything from the moment you were born till this very moment, all within about 2-3 minutes. You think you can pull that off for us?
That's a real long story, but yeah, I can pull it off in less time than that. So, spent many years, graduated degree in environmental planning, which kind of brings me full circle to where I am today. But spent many years as working for a production home builder, running operations, and took that and leveraged a lot of the things that really were special and unique about that type of organization into growing pretty much from the ground up a very large commercial solar developer and EPC. Spent many years there, and then decided to really take both of those lines of experience and come in and do something really cool, which is what we're going to talk about here today. EcoSmart, as you'll hear, is something that you may have heard already from some of the builders and from some of the others involved. Is something really special we're doing to allow zero energy capable development and home construction. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it really, really is cool. And I cannot wait to jump into what that means and really dive into the technology. But first, we got to hear from Greg. Greg, go ahead. I want everything, man.
Thanks. Yeah. So my background actually is interesting. I started in high technology. I worked, I got a degree in electrical engineering. That's my background. And I worked for companies like Intel and others in the communications and IC world for quite some time. And I made a decision, it was in the early 2000s, that there was a lot of challenges that the US is facing in the energy sector. And I got involved in grassroots solar energy development. And from there, I branched into helping to start a solar energy developer down in Southern California, and built out, it was a lot of fun, built out 50 or 60 projects in the large scale commercial solar. I then moved into working and did a little bit of large scale solar for utility scale, and then really focused going back into residential. I worked for Enphase and helped Enphase start their energy storage product offering. And that was a jumping off point for me to get it to Shell. So I have been with Shell now since that point for the past 3 years or so. And in that capacity, I've seen quite a few technologies. Most recently, we had a chance to come across EcoSmart Solution, and that looked to be like a fantastic platform. And so I jumped in with 2 feet and am working as the CTO for EcoSmart Solution.
I mean, all right. So you both have backgrounds that are just absolutely amazing. Let's get into what exactly EcoSmart Solution is. So if you were to explain it to somebody who doesn't really understand what you do, how would you explain that to them?
So the first thing I like to say is we're the only platform right now who's pairing geothermal renewable energy infrastructure community-wide with solar monitoring and other add-ons. You'll hear some things to storage and EV chargers, for example, but we're pairing those things together to allow not only the development to end up being net zero capable, but also individual homes. There's a big difference between building something that is net zero energy and building every individual home that's net zero energy capable.
Yeah, for sure there is. So let's talk about, what does net zero capable mean to you guys?
Greg, I can let you approach that. That's we've got a very solid definition, which Greg.
Yeah.
So the classic definition is one where there is a balance of zero between the energy that's consumed by the home and that's exported. So typically, of course, a home doesn't export any energy. It's a consumer of energy. So a net zero energy home, classically defined, would be one where you have you reduce the energy consumption and you pair that with some kind of local energy generation, so that over the course of a full year, you have a zero energy balance. Sometimes maybe you produce more energy than you consume, and then other times you may consume more than you produce. We have a term called zero energy capable, which we've used, and we introduced this term because there was a lot of confusion in terms of really what this all means. Because in fact, there's a lot of difference in terms of how a home will perform based on the homeowner behavior. So one home may be zero energy capable or zero energy actual use. Another home that has more intense use by the homeowners might consume more energy. So we design homes that are zero energy capable, such that during the course of the year, a homeowner can expect to have a zero energy bill, but that may not be the way in which they use their home. They may have a small residual bill, but that's how we target the sizing of the home.
Yeah, right. And I think that's it's almost a cultural shift for families to really monitor how they're using the energy in the home, and it allows them to adjust their habits to be more energy efficient, to really meet that zero energy capabilities that the home offers. But I've said it several times today, if you leave your windows and doors open and run the air conditioning, it's just not gonna work.
Doesn't work so well. And in fact, I would just add that one of the things that we've made as a real principle is to put in the hands of the homeowner the visibility of how they're using their energy. So every home that's built out now, we include an energy monitoring platform, so the homeowner can see real time exactly how they're using the energy, so they can adapt and make sure they're using the energy in the way that they wish to.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Dave, another thing that we make sure that's in the hands of the homeowners here, specifically at Whisper Valley, is the Austin Energy Green Build's behavior suggestions. This is how you should be living in your house. This is how you live low energy. This is how you live efficiently. This is how you get yourself down to net energy capable or net zero energy. You can't do it unless you're behaving properly. And that's one of the neat things about Whisper Valley is, I'm sure you've heard, it is an extremely difficult approval environment. It is extremely strict codes. And we like to say, and we've been able to prove, that if it's working here, it could work literally anywhere where the restrictions are and some other factors are a little bit easier.
Yeah, sure. Well, I can tell you, I've been here for the last 2 days. It's working. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful community. All right, so let's jump into the technology. Where do we want to start with the technology that is, in this community as well as in the homes?
So one of the things I want to stress first is the way that we are providing this technology package. Greg can certainly talk to the technology, but it's really important to talk about how we're providing it. We are packaging energy efficiency, the highest energy efficiency HVAC system possible, which is your ground source heat pumps with the geothermal community-wide infrastructure provided in advance of the lots being built. We're pairing that with completely customized solar platform that is sized to the consumption and to the heating and cooling loads of each individual house plan. And we're doing that all and then monitoring the whole thing, monitoring the electric usage, the solar production, the heat pump behavior, and the community-wide infrastructure all in one platform. We're packaging that in such a way that the builders just fold that into their normal process. having come from a production home builder for many years and running operations there, I can tell you that builders are justifiably so a little nervous about bringing things in that are going to change what they do. They're concerned with finding lots first, but then selling, building, delivering on a cadence and making profit on a cadence. They don't want to have things that, excuse me, that make things complicated, that really change their process. So what we've done is we've packaged this extremely sophisticated, highly engineered platform in such a way that they could just fold it right into their existing process. So, and now when we start talking about the different things that become part of the EcoSmart package, it's not scary, it's easy.
Yeah, for sure. And we had the chance to talk to some of the builders while we're here, and you know, they were all commenting on how this was put together with your team and Doug's team, and they were able to come in and they had all the assistance and all the help that they needed to really be successful with this type of building. And you're right, there's not a lot of builders that know how to take it to this level. It's becoming more and more, but the fact that you all came together and collaborated and came up with a process in which you can be successful at this, it speaks volumes to what you're doing here.
Yep.
For sure. All right, Greg, technology, let's talk about it.
Sure, my favorite area to discuss. So one thing I would just add is that, you know, I had a lot of involvement with solar energy and energy storage. They're very, very, of course, developed and mainstream. Certainly on the West Coast, where I've done a lot of development, that was a go-to technology. One of the things that you realize when you're in that space is that if what you're going to do is to take an existing home with its existing energy consumption and then be forced to put up sufficient solar and energy storage to make that a zero energy home, that will require quite a bit of solar. And in many cases, you don't have enough roof space. Certainly in many of the homes in Whisper Valley, there just isn't enough roof space to put that amount of solar, even if you wanted to pay for that expensive technology. And that's why I think it's very critical and really a key cornerstone of EcoSmart's program that we first reduce the energy load of the home using geothermal exchange and a ground source heat pump. And in fact, we'll reduce the energy consumption of the heating and cooling system by upwards of 65, 70%, and thereby really reducing the total consumption by almost a half before you even consider putting solar on the roof. So that's really a key point, that we fit these pieces together so that you're really getting an affordable and an optimal solution rather than something that's really heavily leaning towards one technology or another.
Yeah, I agree. Can we dive into it a little bit? I mean, this is a large community, 2,000 acres, right? And there's a geogrid here, and the geothermal, every home's on geothermal. I mean, that's a massive undertaking when you really think about how that works, or wasn't it? Or you tell us. I want to learn more about it. I think people would be very interested in learning more about how you can do a community this large, all on geothermal.
So there's a couple angles to come at that question from, or to a couple answers to this. And from the technology side, Greg can easily answer, but from the infrastructure side, I can speak to it. So the infrastructure goes in and is able to be made affordable because we're doing it on scale, because we're doing it upfront, because we're doing it when the land is being developed. It's part of the entitlement process. It's part of the ground improvement process. So it goes in along with the other dry utilities, along with the sewer, the stormwater, right up front. So by the time the land is completed and the lots are finished, this technology sits there. It would be completely unaffordable to be able to have to come in afterward and do these one-off. Everybody knows anything about geothermal technology, knows that it's been used for many years, for decades, but especially on higher end homes. The specialness we brought to this through the EcoSmart platform at Whisper Valley as a starting point is bringing it down to affordability. So it's one thing to build geothermal, it's another thing to build this infrastructure upfront in one shot and make it affordable.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And so having all this infrastructure in place for these builders to come in was really the key to the success. And if I understand correctly, with Google Fiber Google Fiber that came in, and you did a lot of the geothermal and the trenching all at the same time. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's basically the way it's done. I mean, we use the analogy that it's no more complicated than connecting up water service. So on every single lot the builder will build on, there's a geogrid connection box, which looks, as I said, like a connection to a water system. And simply the builder then has their subcontractor plumb to that connection box line geothermal water service lines and bring them into the home, and then they're connected up to the ground source heat pump. And it makes it pretty straightforward and pretty manageable in terms of the integration once it's done up front, as you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. So go ahead, John. You look like you were going to say something.
Dave, I was going to say one of the things I mentioned earlier is, having come from that production builder background, really knew that replicability and simplification and predictability and scalability was all about what a production builder is about. We know, EcoSmart knows that we can't come in and become a big hurdle. We can't come in and become something that they need to overcome and figure out. So we figure that all out for them up front, and very few changes are required in the home plans themselves, which of course we work with up front. We work with the designers up front. We make sure that everything is ready to go by the time these builders step in and start building. So we like to take our technology and just make it seamless, just integrate the process right in. We become, in effect, even though we built the infrastructure, in effect, we become just another trade when it comes to the builder's process.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, that's the collaboration, again, coming together. Everybody's pulling in the same direction, which I think is what has to happen. Let's talk about in the home. Let's talk about the value this brings to the consumer and the comfort level, the healthiness in these homes. Can we get into, what these systems are doing really to make this such a wonderful place for them?
Sure. No, I mean, I think one of the things I would just add on to a comment that John was mentioning about the difference between doing this sort of after the fact and doing it up front, and the value of the geogrid, as we call it, which is this infrastructure that we put in up front. One of the real advantages in doing that, beyond the scale, of course, the fact that we can do it all up front and cost effectively, is the fact that you're leveraging, as a homeowner, the whole system. And neighbors are sharing the geothermal resources across the entire network. So if it was required for us or for any builder to put in the geothermal capacity that would be necessary to handle the potential peak cooling, let's say, of any given home, that would be quite a bit of geothermal boreholes that would have to be put on an individual lot. But because we've created this network, this residential network of district, when you are using the geothermal system, if your cooling capacity outstrips that of your own resources on your lot, you're able to use the geothermal boreholes on your street amongst your neighbor. And we have a centralized energy management center that includes cooling, auxiliary cooling, so that in those cases where it's really warm, as it does get in Austin, and you have a lot of homes using that, we can kind of provide an additional boost to the cooling capacity. And all of that can be managed and optimized and done at this sort of central district level. If it was done individually, it'd be very prohibitively expensive because you'd have to build out the maximum capacity for every home. So I just wanted to point that out. That's an important thing to note. But in the home, and just to kind of dive into the home, you have the geothermal heat pump, and that's connected to the network. And so it draws the geothermal water to be able to provide the heating and cooling that it needs as a balance. It exchanges, it pumps the excess heat in the summer, it pumps that into the earth through the exchange, and then it draws heat in the wintertime, right? That's the way the heat pump works. And in concert with that, of course, we have a smart thermostat, which is used to be able to, Nest smart thermostat, which is used to be able to control the heat pump as it would control any sort of heating and cooling equipment. And of course, we have solar on the roof. Every single home has solar, which offsets the remaining electricity consumption so that we're able to get each home very close to zero energy consumption over the course of the year. We also do certain things to work with the builders to make sure that the energy efficiency of the home is conducive. We spray foam the attics. We work with them to make sure that their designs are as energy efficient as they can. And we now have introduced auxiliary or ancillary distributed energy resources like storage. We have a pilot with a Sonnen on one of the homes that EcoSmart has. We're actually demonstrating the way in which energy storage works on a daily basis to both provide benefits in terms of the use of the energy, but also in the case of a grid outage, it fully backs up your home. So there's a number of components which go into the home that some of them are required parts and some are optional that the homeowner can choose.
All right, that's just interesting. Yeah, you're basically having these battery backup storage systems, so to speak, that they can choose, just like somebody would choose a gas generator.
That's right.
Off grid. Yeah.
Right. And the nice thing about it that we really wanted to emphasize is the fact that if there is an outage, one of the things that I can assure you that every homeowner wants to make sure of is that their cooling system will work in the summertime when they have a power outage. So we've designed it so that the Sonnen system in this case will keep the heat pump operating, and the homeowner will be able to use the resources of their local borehole, their local geothermal resource, even if there's a central power outage and the central system isn't functioning.
Yeah. Go ahead, John, I know you were going to jump in there a few times.
No, I was just listening. So, Dave, one of the things you asked about is kind of the healthfulness or the healthiness of the homes, and I think everybody acknowledges that home healthy construction is going to take years to become codified, to become popular, to become mandated, for example. But it's, as we've all seen, unfortunately, with the realities with the pandemic, that's being accelerated. So anything that can be done for the health inside the home, noise pollution, air quality, predictability in maintenance, predictability in performance, predictability in the amount of air being exchanged, the amount of humidity being controlled. This is something that once the industry and the authorities having jurisdiction over codes catch on and start making this more of a codified set of rules for people to follow, they're going to realize that the industry's going to realize that ground source heat pumps are an incredibly, not only efficient, but incredibly healthy way to be constructing. I'm sure you've heard from some of the builders that, something as simple as not having external or exterior condensers on air conditioning units throughout the community is a big benefit from a noise pollution standpoint. So we don't think that health codes are coming around right away, but we certainly think over the next 5 to 10 years it's going to develop, and being on the forefront of that makes us feel good, makes us feel like we can offer some of the most progressive developers and some of the most progressive builders out there a means for getting healthy construction, getting in front of it. And just like the energy crisis is the thing that tipped off or pushed energy efficient construction years ago, this pandemic is going to be what really jumpstarts the concept around healthy buildings. So we're right there.
Yeah, and are you feeling it and seeing it? I mean, I know a lot of other people are feeling and seeing that, yes, as bad as this crisis is, something typically good comes out of it as well. And in the housing industry, that good is building smarter, better, more efficient, more sustainable homes that are healthy.
Right. So we like to think of it as, and I think we at EcoSmart think that smart home is kind of an overused buzzword at this point. I mean, anybody building new construction now should be doing things that are highly technical or high technology home that makes it a smart home, right? So that's not different. What we think is different is packaging that with not just those smart features, if you will, but we think what's really smart about it is getting the entire community to be tying in to be zero energy capable, and every single individual home being tied in to be zero energy capable, and being able to monitor the entire ecosystem out there. That's what's really unique. That's what we think is a smart way to be moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And Greg, I mean, your thoughts from a technology standpoint. I mean, we're just kind of we're at the tip of the iceberg with technology here, but there's so much more that the future holds for everything we're doing, right?
Definitely. I think that it's not just the integration of all these technologies that make a perfect balance for the home, but then as a collective community, there's the opportunity to provide other services broader than just within the home to the rest of the community or at large, the utilities. So many utilities are really looking for ways moving forward to not have to build more poles and wires and more infrastructure, which is not what people want to do. We're putting more plants online. We're really looking for smart, reactive, flexible load that can be optimized so that when it's really at peak time, you can actually throttle back on the energy used for these communities. And that's really what we're setting up. We're laying in all that intelligence, all that smarts that John mentioned to be able to do so. So the solar that's on the roof can be controlled. There's smart inverters, they all can be controlled. The heat pumps actually act almost like an energy storage, so you can actually pre-cool the homes. You can actually pre-cool the earth. We can do that seasonally. So there's a lot of advantages and a lot of options for us to be able to provide these sorts of services down the road to utilities, which are really looking forward to those.
Sure. This communities in Austin, Texas. Is this something that you can take anywhere?
We are in the process of taking it. Well, I should say we're in the process of taking it very carefully to a couple of select and very high-profile land developers and builders in other markets. And we think it's something very special. It's not just a builder wants to be in a particular market. That's location. We think it's special here is pairing up with developers and builders who really want to be doing something that's unique, or something that's very special. We're really truly building zero energy capable communities. So yes, it is being taken to other markets carefully and selectively, and very importantly, it works in something like 95% of the country. So wherever master plan communities are happening or are going to happen, wherever large scale development, subdivisions or multifamily programs are likely to be happening, geothermal paired with the solar storage and other monitoring features we're doing works great.
Right. So another topic, in line with this, I mean, so you got the masterminds behind the technology in these communities. Let's talk service the community as well with the homeowners. Are we treating home as a service in this instance?
So you cut out a little bit there, Dave. I didn't hear.
Yeah. So let's talk about the service you guys offer. So you build all the technology. We have all these wonderful homeowners living here. They may or may not know how to use everything in its most efficient ways they can. Talk about how you service them.
Oh boy, that is right up our alley. So we have an on-site representative who is literally tuned in, knows every homeowner on a first name basis, knows what their hot buttons are, knows how thrilled they are with us. So yeah, and by the way, we do provide that service after sale. We're not just a supplier there. We're actually building the community. We own the geogrid, so we own their energy system. So we're there to serve our customer, who is all the homeowners. Yeah. So We're not only just servicing it after the sale, we are actually providing service and commissioning and comments and guides and hints about how your system operates. And it's one of the things we enjoy the most. We're in a service industry, and that's what with the team that we're putting together really thrives on.
Yeah, I mean that is awesome, right? So think about it. You not only have the minds behind it, but you also have the same people behind it helping to service the community and the homeowners and bring all that benefit. So another question is, affordability, right? This technology for a one-off builder doesn't allow them to use it in affordable homes. Can you talk about the price points that we have in the community and how all that ties in with affordability?
It's the builders are probably best able to answer that, but I can say that what we're packaging in is inclusive. The geothermal, the geogrid, which is the geothermal heating and cooling capacity, the connection box on each lot, the heat pump in each unit. We're actually specifying, and of course all the monitoring and all the smart features that do go with it. We're also then very carefully specifying the size of the solar package that the builder needs to supply. So when you say that the total price point, it ranges a little bit. It might range from as little as $20,000 to as much as $40,000, but it really depends very much on which slice of the pie you're talking about. It's not all provided by EcoSmart. It's not all provided by the builder. So there is some cross-pollination there. But the key with working with EcoSmart is we're very transparent about it. We work very, very openly with the builders. We show them exactly the benefits that they're going to see, that their home buyers are going to see, and that the development at large is going to see.
Right, right. And go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
To that point, every home gets a HERS certification. So the builder and the homeowner knows exactly what is the energy value of all these elements they're putting into the home. And it's done using, a independent rating agency, ResNet, that manages that, so that the homeowner, the builder, and the homeowner can feel assured that there's value, and they know what the value is, benchmarked against a standard, not highly energy efficient new built home. So we target homes that are a HERS rating of 25 or lower, and that provides significant financial value, economic value to the homeowner in terms of energy savings that they can actually calculate.
So, Dave, also importantly, you asked about affordability and price points. I'm sure you've had plenty of conversation with the developer and the builders there. This is not pricing Whisper Valley out of the market or above the market. We're right in there where the market is, or they are right in there where the market is. So the great thing that they're able to do is partner with us. We collaborate all as a three-way relationship, really four ways when you consider the home buyer. To Greg's point, if there wasn't a home buyer who wanted to be highly efficient and with a low energy bill, there'd be no market for it. It's moving more and more toward home buyers getting much more sophisticated, much more demanding. It's moving more rapidly toward jurisdictions making their codes much more difficult to meet, making zero energy, making low carbon impact more the code. And going forward, it's just going to get stricter and stricter as we go across the country. So we're not the things that we are working together with our EcoSmart package does not end up pricing the homes any higher than the market, which is the really cool thing about it.
Right, and that's really the value here. I mean, you're getting an affordable house within market rate of this area, but you're getting all the latest technology and then some, to include zero or very little utility bills with your house. So that's to me the leg up. I mean, that's right. I mean, you can be as comparable as any other developer out there in this area, but the difference with you guys is, hey, listen, I'm going to have a home and I'm going to know what my utility bill is every month as long as my kids pay attention to what I tell them. Right?
Which is a good if, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, that is a big if. It's a big if. Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, let's we got a comment or so over here. Let's hop in and take a look. And oh, look at that, we got George Ryman joining us. Sorry, we're getting your face cut off there a little bit. From Phoenix, Arizona, and he says very interesting. And then Jennifer, sorry about that. I'll get it off of you in 1 second. Would it be too cost prohibitive to retrofit master plan communities to embrace the health and wellness amenities today's sustainable activists demand? What can existing communities do to be more eco-conscious?
Wow, that's first of all, the first comment, how interesting and how neat, how exciting. I agree. That's what we're doing here. It is really interesting, neat, and exciting. So I couldn't agree more. Secondly, we've thought long and hard about how this could be eventually brought to existing communities, and at a large enough scale, it might work. I know there are some serious limitations to how you put new infrastructure into an existing community. It's not to say that it can't be done. It might be difficult. Some of the things that we're talking about here, certainly the monitoring capabilities and the energy generation capabilities, those things could be brought anywhere, literally anywhere. And there's builders that are doing that now. But retrofitting an entire existing community with geothermal, that brings its own set of logistic challenges.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, Jennifer. And there's Betsy Scott. I'm sitting here with the developer. Homes in Whisper Valley are running 250 to 450 with all the tech built in. 200s are quite low for this area. So there you have it. Betsy's actually sitting with the developer of this project right now. So, I mean, listen, I live in New England. I mean, it's a fixer-upper right? And I mean, a lot of fixer-upper for anything in that range where we live. I couldn't imagine, the value that this brings to have all this technology and no utility bill. I can't get over it.
We agree. We agree, and it works. I mean, so you say what we talk about. When the management team at EcoSmart gets together, we talk about what defines success for us. Well, what defines success is making what we're doing simple first, making what we're doing scalable second, and then letting the results from the homeowners and the home buyers just speak for themselves.
Yeah.
This is when you talk to home buyers throughout Whisper Valley, they're thrilled with what they're seeing and how it's performing, and especially the cost savings they're getting as a result.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? We spoke to several of them today, and that's exactly it. I mean, they love it. And they've been here long enough to see the impact that it has on the community and on them personally. And they just talk about how the community of what you've put into this package and offered has made them actually want to talk about it. And the culture. Well, how did you get to zero? I had a $5 bill, or that's what's so super cool about this. And one of the builders even was talking about their trades are taking this information outside of the community when they work on other jobs. So they're expanding the knowledge of what you're doing here. And I think that's a really big benefit to the community in Austin.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see who else we have tuning in here. I have one more question from Jennifer. Can you share with us more about the Austin Energy Green Building Program, or what other cities are looking to adopt something similar?
Wow, that's a great question, Jennifer. I would say that there's, when you get to some areas, it's being mandated statewide that you don't, for example, build new gas into a community. And some communities being built citywide that says any new master plan development or any development over X number of homes or X acreage needs to be net zero. So it varies across the country, and there really is no standard. There are some uniform construction codes, but green energy codes and the ability or the desire to get down to energy efficiency and carbon neutrality really become a series of political decisions and conversations at each state, and sometimes within each state. So it's really hard to pick and choose which other ones might be as tough. But I can tell you there are many of them out there. I can tell you many out there because some of the developers and builders that contact us are trying to solve the same problem that Whisper Valley has already solved.
Yeah. And I would say, the specific program that Austin Energy, the Green Build program they have, it's sort of a very standard type of an approach. It's probably one of the more the longer running. It's been around for quite some time, and they've evolved it over time. But basically, it scores all sorts of attributes on a rating system. And effectively, what we've been able to deliver is out of the box, a builder gets a 2-star green building rating from AGB's code as a green building if they follow the platform. So you get that kind of out of the box. But it goes through and scores all sorts, and it mandates many different things that you should do to make sure that you're evaluating your energy use, to make sure that your HVAC system is performing correctly, the ductwork is done correctly. There's a lot of attention paid to the building envelope and sealing it correctly. So I think overall it really does provide a good framework for a program like EcoSmart to be integrated into, because it really highlights the advantages of using the program to achieve where the green building program is trying to get to.
Yeah, for sure. So we're here and fortunate enough to be doing this with the Housing Innovation Alliance, and the Housing Innovation Alliance feels that health is the new energy efficiency in homes. What is your opinion on that?
Well, again, I think it's going to evolve over time. Certainly, like I said before, the pandemic has certainly brought that to people's the forefront of their thought right now. There is no standardization around healthy building right now, especially in residential construction. We think it's going to develop over years, next 3, 4, 5 years or more. We think it's accelerated by the reality of the pandemic. But we do think that what we're providing is going to help solve that problem when it does become part of the code. It's really hard to predict, just as it was hard to predict how deep and how accepted energy efficiency would become. It went through steps. It lurched forward. First, you had to do one thing, then you had to do another, and then there was Energy Star, and then there were things that really didn't end up with a big impact on the home construction altogether. We think healthy construction is going to follow that same process.
Yeah, I think so too. We're seeing it all over now, and I think, as unfortunate as COVID is, it has sped up some of the thought process and people taking the time to really understand the value of it. And I think that's changing things. And you guys already knew the value of it, and that's what's so interesting here. And you were doing this long before. I think it's becoming it's starting to be cool, right? It's starting to be cool to geek out on energy savings, right? And healthy.
One thing I would just, interject, something that had been done long before the pandemic and the concerns about our current outbreak. One of the policies that EcoSmart put into place long before actually John and I began was that as a service, again, we are an energy service provider, that we would work with the homeowners to make sure that every 6 months they had a filter change. I mean, one of the most fundamental, non-tech, simple but really important things to do is change your filters on a regular basis, because when they get all clogged up, the system doesn't work. So we said to help homeowners get acclimated to the whole process and to make sure that their systems out the gate are going to be running for the first few years, we have implemented a program at EcoSmart where we automatically change for the homeowner their filters for the first few years. So I think that's a service obligation we're providing. We'll have, of course, be extending that technologically, but I think it's even simple things like that to make the homeowners aware of what they can do to improve the indoor air quality that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, guys, we're going to take one more. We got one more comment here I want to put up for somebody tuning in. They said, Andrew Seeley, great conversation. All hard to overstate the benefit of deleting noisy condenser fans in a high demand AC city. Yeah.
Yeah, the best thing we like to say when we're visiting, when the team is visiting Whisper Valley, is EcoSmart Solution is helping putting the whisper in Whisper Valley. You can literally sit out on your porch with a home close by on small lots and not hear that irritating condenser noise. And it truly is it's one of the benefits. It's not a direct benefit. It's not you can't point to it and say this is why I'm buying here, but it just really lends yourself to say this is really something really cool.
Yeah, that quote right there would be a great T-shirt to hand out to all the community. They can wear them everywhere, and everybody will ask them, "What does that mean?" Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, John and Greg, thank you so much for taking some time to speak with us today and share your vision on everything. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys pull out of your hat here in the future, because topping this is the next thing for you, and what you're doing here and continuing to grow this technology, continuing to grow, home as a service, so to speak, where we're educating and teaching the communities how to live better and healthier and more sustainable, all at an affordable price, I think is very, very commendable. And that you guys had the vision to come up with these ideas and these thoughts. Bravo.
So thank you for all those comments. We agree with every one of them. I'm gonna say my apologies one more time that Greg and I couldn't join face to face with some travel restrictions and some things that we felt it was necessary to join from a distance. But really great talking to you and answering some of the questions you guys had.
Yeah, no, really great as well. And hey, I'm in New England. I can swing in and see you anytime up there. And Greg, I might be in California in 2 weeks as well. So I'll look you both up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, listen, everybody. So thank you so much for joining, and everybody, thank you for giving your comments and just tuning in and listening to this. Whisper Valley is an amazing community. It's been a lot of fun being here today. It's been a lot of fun talking to not only the folks behind the scenes, but the people that are actually living here as well. And I think that tells a great story for what you're doing and what Whisper Valley is doing. So, got to check it out. We're moving here. I just told my wife. So that's it. We're packing up in the Whisper Valley. All right. But listen, this is it, guys. So we are in Austin, Texas with the Housing Innovation Alliance at Whisper Valley. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time. Bye now. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.